What up, everybody? It's your boy DFSUpNorth, aka Josh Thomas, back with another DFS Army, not PGA, NFL podcast. We are week 17, and this is the 10 under 10 podcast where I tell you my 10 favorite plays, 5 from Draftkings, 5 from Fanduel, all trending towards under 10% owned that can help you take down a GPP. Chalk's been smashing lately, so it's been a little bit of a rough go here, but hey, we are back at it again in week 17, and we are into sort of the funky season, right? Some guys are resting. We get some weird games, more so next week in week 18 when, potentially the Chiefs don't play anybody and the Lions maybe don't play. I mean, Lions say they're going to play everybody, but we'll see what happens this weekend with the 49ers and the Vikings and what everybody's got to play for. So week 17 main slate. Let's get into it, everybody. I'm super excited. Again, if you don't know my motto, first or last, I ain't here to min cash. I need to get like a flag or something like that behind me that says that, because that's my motto here. Again, ownership based on time of writing. Things do change a little bit. We could see somebody end up, crushing, right? I want to be a DFS Army's next big winner, win a million like Rapid Fire XD or MRIN or whoever else, right? Use that code UpNorth that gets you 10% off a VIP membership for life. Before we get into week 17, everybody, let's talk about week 16. It was okay, right? Mac Jones was fine. Devin Achan, however you say his last name, smashed 34 points. He was the RB3 on the week. Jones, fine. De'Ami Brown, okay. I don't know. Mike Gesicki was fine. Nobody that really you looked at and went like, oh man, this was a smash play. Over on FanDuel, sort of more of the same. I will say this though, all right, on FanDuel. So there was some conversation about the Craig Reynolds play. All right. Because they had 3 other running backs. Reynolds got maybe one of the first early touches, but Sion Vaki and Jamar Jefferson also got touches here. Here's the deal. When you get a very cheap running back, wide receiver, whoever, right, that is going to get some work, it can really change the dynamic of your lineup. So by playing Craig Reynolds last week, I was able to play Saquon Barkley and Bijan Robinson in the same lineup, right? Which gets me over the cash line in a lot. Now, I know that my motto is first or last, ain't here to min cash, but even a mediocre performance from somebody like Craig Reynolds, who's cheap. Let's say he gets 12 points. Now I'm looking at potentially taking down a GPP if things work out down the line. But I do love the idea of playing just a min cash cheapie that's going to get some work, at least. Not everybody is going to get work, right? In some of my lineups. So that's sort of the strategy here, the GPP strategy as we go forward. Jalen McMillan was a good play. And I think a good play again this week, but he should be higher owned. But let's get into this week, and not cover boy, but one of my favorite plays this week is Jordan Love. As a diehard Minnesota Vikings fan, it is hard. I try not to look at things through rose-colored glasses. But Jordan Love is in a smash spot here against the Vikings indoors. He's starting to get more mobile, recovering from that injury. He's, I love him with a Romeo Doubs and Tucker Kraft. The Vikings are elite against the run. They struggle against the pass. Their secondary is not that good. All right. We should get maybe Harrison Smith back this week, which helps, but I still think that you can absolutely eat up the Vikings through the air. And I do think that this game is going to play to the over here. So lots of points. I think this will end up being a shootout. Do I think the Vikings win? Absolutely, baby. But I do think that the Packers are going to be competitive. Everybody's going to play like a Josh Jacobs. And for me, I love a Jordan Love, Tucker Kraft, Romeo Doubs. I think you probably need 2 with Love. I just think if he's going to put in that GPP winning score, he's going to drag a couple of guys with him. Dobbs is your TD catcher there, and Kraft has been elite in the middle of the field. So I believe purple and gold, but I love Jordan Love in this game. You run that thing back with Justin Jefferson, not Jordan Jettas, Jay Jettas, and then Jordan Addison, who I'm going to talk about here in a little bit as well. Maybe Aaron Jones revenge game, right? I don't hate the Aaron Jones revenge narrative here. As we keep going down, another Minnesota Vikings, former Vikings running back Alexander Mattison The Saints couldn't stop the Packers' third or fourth string running backs on Monday night. That is not going to change here. I think Madison smashes. Amir Abdullah is lurking. I get that, but Madison's the guy. Super cheap, 5,600. Love him here. And another running back that I love, who I just am shocked. He is your cover boy, Jerome Ford. Chubb is out. I don't get why Ford is so cheap and so low owned. Like, I understand that the Dolphins' run defense is their top 10 run defense. I get it. But at 5,900, 3% owned, that number's going to climb, I would imagine, as people sort of start to see the initial ownership projections here as we head towards Sunday. But like, he is a lock and load play, all formats for me. Love him. Talking about Jordan Addison, right? We've seen the ceiling game from him. He is far too low owned at 6,300. Everyone, like, your chalk play is going to be Justin Jefferson. Rightfully so. The guy's one of the best wide receivers in the league, but don't sleep on Jordan Addison here. I think that he is due for a good game as everybody sort of focuses on Justin Jefferson. Don't know if Jair Alexander is going to play. Something funky is going on there, but I do think that this is a great spot for Jordan and Addison, not Anderson. And then I love a cheap tight end, especially with the dumpster fire that tight end's been this year, week in and week out. We do not have like a legitimate guy that you're looking at and going number one every single week, right? So I'm fine playing the cheapies here. Tyler Conklin getting a ton of usage. I think he had 5 targets last week or 7 targets with Aaron Rodgers. We saw it last week with the cheap tight end Chigakonkwo being in the nuts lineup. I think Conklin is that guy this week. I keep writing up Jets. I get that, but they are criminally underowned every single week. As we switch over to FanDuel, we see my boy Bobby Wow taking down $1 million a couple of years ago, and we are right back to the well with Bryce Young. Bryce Young might be better than CJ Stroud. That would be if I would have said this at the beginning of the season, that would have been blasphemous. If I would have said this when he got benched at week 6, that would have been blasphemous. But I think I could potentially stand behind this right now. I get that whole body of work, whatever, but Stroud is struggling right now. Bad reads, throwing picks, I get that he's got some injuries to the wide receivers, things like that, but he is not in a good place. Bryce Young looks pretty good, running the ball a ton. He's found his legs, 3 rushing touchdowns his last 4 games. That gives him a legitimate ceiling here. 7,100, 6.5% owned. I kind of love Bryce Young this week. You pair him up with Thielen, you move on. And yeah, I'm kind of into it here. So Bryce Young, QB Carolina Panthers. I said that I write up too many Jets. I do love Breece Hall this week. The Jets are going to want to slow this game down and not let Josh Allen go crazy here. I think we get a heavy dose of Breece Hall on the ground. And I think that this game script, regardless, is going to benefit him, because if we get into a shootout, he's going to catch a ton of passes. Makes him a pretty good Draftkings play too, but he is going to be a little bit higher owned over there. I love Breece Hall and the Jets line offense in general against the Bills, who they score a lot of points, but they can't stop anybody. All right. I talked about Dobbs. I love him. I'm a diehard Vikings fan. I get it. He's an elite red zone option. 5,600 is cheap. Watson might be out. I think Jacobs is a trap play. I think I want access to all of these wide receivers. Josh Downs. Okay, so this is interesting. I like Josh Downs regardless. All right. But I kind of like him a little more if Anthony Richardson doesn't go here and we get Joe Flacco again. All right. That is a intriguing spot for me. All right. So that's why I wrote him up. We've seen the massive upside. I think that with a true pocket passer in there, which it's trending towards right now, he's a great play. Finally, Malik Neighbors. The usage here has been outrageous. He is dealing with a bit of a toe injury. He said himself he is a game time decision. But I think that if he goes here, this is a smash spot. I get it's Drew Lock, but 14, 14, 10, 13 targets the last 4 weeks. Big time spot for Malik Neighbors. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is what I got for you this week. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you see green screens on Sunday. Make sure you become a DFS Army subscriber, a DFS Army VIP. You can use that code UpNorth. Gets you 10% off for life. We've got tons of content. We got the Saturday games. We got the showdowns. Like, everything is happening here at DFS Army. Don't be afraid to become a VIP. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I will chat with you guys in week 18.